today's second lecture, and my lecture topic is dynamics of ship motion. And my lecture contents is first one is dynamics of ship motion, and second one is especially about ship motions. So in first section, I briefly introduce about the key principles of dynamics, which we learned in dynamics class. Before the start, we should classify kinematics, kinetics, and dynamics to define the clear meaning of dynamics. First, kinematics is mathematical description of motion without considering the cause of motion. So kinematics is especially interested in the state of motion. However, kinetics is mathematical description of relationship between the motion and the cause of the motion. So kinetics is especially interested in the cause of motion. And finally, dynamics interests about both the state of the motion and also the cause of the motion. So it is interested in the motion based on the Newton's second law of motion. After the classification, we should consider about degree of freedom to analyze the motion of ship. As you learned in dynamics class, there are 3 degrees of freedoms for translation motion and another 3 degrees of freedoms for rotational motion. So in the ship motion, we call X and Y and Z direction motion surge and sway and heave motion. Also, 3 rotational motions are called roll, pitch, and yaw motion respectively, where X direction is ship going direction and Z direction is water depth direction, usually. Also, in dynamics, rigid body concept is very powerful and reasonable concept for an analysis of solid bodies such as aircraft or ship. A rigid body is assumed as a non-deformable solid body, and any distance between 2 points in the body is constant during the motion. Also, velocity of each point is a function of the position. However, angular velocity is constant in any point in the body at the same time. So I think rigid body is an idealization of a solid body, and it is very good assumption, I think. From the Newton's second law of motion, it can be easily seen that the main influence of motion is forces and moments and geometry of the system. Forces and moments are usually determined by external causes, but geometry of the system may be related with the system of mass of system and moment of inertia, which means geometry of the system is determined by the characteristic of the system. So from the second law, we can easily see external force equal ma, so we should define the center of mass. Center of mass is defined as a summation of each mass multiplied displacement vector over total mass. And if you think about the weighted average concept in statistics, then you can easily understand about the center of mass. And for a discrete system, we conduct calculation from summation, and integration is conducted for a continuous system. As I mentioned before, center of mass is a representative of translational motion, and inertia tensor represents rotational motion of the system. However, there exists a small difference, which is inertia tensor is dependent on the coordinate system, whereas center of mass, total mass amount is not dependent, is independent on the coordinate system. In summary, Every motions of rigid body are decomposed into a translational motion and rotational motion. And these are represented as a center of masses motion. Also, each motion are related with linear momentum and angular momentum by Newton's law. So from the figure, you can easily understand about any arbitrary motion. For the calculation, there is many symbols, and usually we use this kind of symbols, and it is called standard symbols. And also, these quantities are usually measured in the body fixed frame. So from the standard symbols, we can simplify the total equation of motion like this. So from the principle of dynamics, we can understand about shift motions. So to analyze the shift motions, we usually decompose total external forces and moments into hydrodynamic terms and hydrostatic terms and control terms and environmental terms. So in this lecture, I briefly introduce about hydrodynamic terms and control terms. So first one is hydrodynamic terms. Hydrodynamic forces and moments are usually induced by pressure and damping and drag. Especially pressure-induced forces and moments are usually proportional to the acceleration. And the coefficient of linear proportionality is called added mass or virtual mass. Actually, it is not real mass, but it is similar mathematical effect with that, so we call it virtual mass. I prepare a video about added mass.
過質量というものを実験で調べてみましょう。
You see the
用意するのは発泡スチロールの板、それから割り箸です。割り箸には雑巾を当てています。発泡スチロールの板を水に浮かべて、その真ん中あたりを割り箸で叩いてみます。小さな板で実験してみます。板を浮かべて真ん中あたりに割り箸を当てて強く叩いてみます。穴は開きません。もう一度やってみましょう。このように全く穴は開きません。では大きな板で実験してみましょう。板を水に浮かべます。割り箸を真ん中あたりに当てて、強く叩いてみます。このように板の真ん中に穴が開きました。で、なぜ大きな板で穴が開いたかというと、この板に割り箸を当てて叩くときに周りの水も一緒に加速させる、つまり周りの水も動かさないといけないんです。そのためにより大きな力を必要とします。これは発泡スチロールの板が見かけ上質量が大きくなったのと同じような効果があります。
As you can see, added mass affects to the punching of styrofoam plate, and it comes from increasing of pressure. The second one is control forces and moments. These are usually determined by marine control devices, and marine control devices are used to change the direction of ship. Especially, thruster is a propulsive device for station keeping, reaction control system, and extra. Actually, there are many types of thrusters and control surface, and I want to show you a video about both thruster and rudder. This is working video for both thruster, and this is roughly working principle of rudder, especially flap rudder. Okay, and last one is environmental forces and moments. And these are usually determined by wind condition or wave condition and current condition. As you see in the previous slide, there exists 6 degrees of freedom for ship motion. Among them, rolling, pitching, and heaving motions are very similar to pendulum motion, which means these have frequency of oscillation, and also ship motion have their own natural frequency. So it is important to compare with natural frequency and rolling or pitching and heaving motions frequency to prevent a resonance. On the other hand, yawing, surging, and swing motions are not quite similar as pendulum motion. So this is last slide. For ship vibration, resonance is very critical issue, which is I mentioned before. So if repeated perturbing forces apply to ship with similar to natural frequency, then resonance occurs, and if it continues until capsizing of ship, it may be large accident. So we should consider about the motion, the frequency of motion, and also natural frequency of ship. So many ship engineers try to control this frequency or motion. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.